Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on The Enforcer, starring Antonio Banderas as an enforcer. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's what? It's the Pineys, books 1 through 9, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. I will be at the Hamilton Public Library at 6 p.m. on Thursday, that's tomorrow. Stop on by for my lecture on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. Now, Kate Bosworth is the person who assigns the enforcer for some reason. It's one of these movies. Hitman with a heart of gold. And slightly different change up in the makeup. He is assigned by his boss to train a new enforcer. I guess he's on his way out. These guys always are. And then he runs into this girl who reminds him of his daughter. She's 15. She came to Miami. It's a dangerous town. So he feels bad for her, helps her out, and then puts her up in a hotel. But then a guy assaults her, kidnaps her, and sells her into the sex trade. So Antonio Banderas ain't having that. So he shows up and starts whacking people, and then starts looking for a moment of redemption, as it always goes this way. So, and here's a scene where he just walks up to this dude who I assume is like a guard somewhere, and he just friggin' whacks him in the face. And then it's about whether or not the young guy is going to be on his side too. So, written by W. Peter Iliff and directed by Richard Hughes. All right. Let's see. Antonio Banderas and Kate Bosworth, top of the cast. And then the rest of the cast, I don't know. Mojine Aria, Alex Wren, Zoli Griggs, Natalie Byrne, and 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz, ladies and gentlemen. A guy with the number 2 in his name. Anywho, it looks all right. Looks pretty good. Gritty, usual stuff. This is the young guy he's training, and the hot blonde he's shagging. My only problem, and it's a nitpick. As you may or may not know, I've done a pretty decent amount of research on organized crime. Typically, women are not in this position where she's ordering around a guy to go kill people for the family or whatever the organization is. Organizations in the world of crime, in the actual world of crime, they're based on ethnic groups 9 times out of 10. So, Antonio Banderas would be perfect for like a Mexican cartel guy, right? Because he's got an accent, and, he's perfect. He's perfect. The young guy, couldn't really get a beat on him, ethnically, but he could be like a Mexican cartel guy too. Kate Bosworth, not really. Seems out of place. And again, women, not a lot of women in the organization. Almost none. And usually they're propped up by guys who are powerful, if they're in it at all. They have to be so insanely ruthless. They're the exception, not the rule. So that's the one part of this that's unrealistic in my view. But I get it. Kate Bosworth is a name. They're trying to put her somewhere in the movie. You can kind of suspend your disbelief for that, obviously, in this kind of movie. It's the same old story, hitman. Oh, he's such a great guy. He murders people, but deep down he's a nice guy. He only murders bad people. Yeah, that's also not really a thing. And in fact, when it comes to enforcers as a role in organized crime, really every soldier is supposed to do what he does. It takes a huge organization to actually have a dedicated enforcer. Typically, they just don't, because it's all the soldiers are adept at killing people. Basically, they're supposed to be anyway. But it looks like fun. It's a typical story. So he's got a heart of gold. He makes friends with this girl. After a few hours, and deep down he's a nice guy. They have a good line in this. Oh, I have a daughter about your age. So he identifies with her. Maybe his daughter's not really alive anymore, or he can't see her anymore because he's a criminal or whatever. So you could see why he would bond with her. Oh, I got a daughter her age. I don't want to see her get kicked around in this tough city. So he helps her out, and then somebody goes off and kills her. Yeah, that ain't sitting right with a guy like him. So I like the setup. Antonio Banderas is good for this role. He's in shape. He's doing his suave thing. He doesn't even look particularly old in this role. He's a little older, but not that old. He looks good. Young guy. He's got a sidekick. So it's I could see this being a thing. Totally. Kate Bosworth's a little out of place, but she's a good actress. So yeah, I'd see this movie. Sure, it's my kind of movie. So first act, he's a hitman doing his hitman thing. Kate Bosworth says, "Oh, you got to train a young guy. I found this guy," and so he makes him his friend, and I said, "I'm going to train you to murder people." And then he runs into this girl and sets her up in the hotel. Says, "Oh, it's a rough town. Watch yourself. It's nice to meet you." Blah 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 blah. Just being human. Walks away, and then boom, somebody kidnaps her and assaults her or whatever. Oh, that ain't sitting right. So he goes back, can't find her, but he kills the hotel guy who set her up. And then, of course, he starts to immediately, his his new young trainee is like, "What are we doing here?" And he's like, "Well, there's just some lines I won't cross," kind of thing, right? So the young guy goes with him, but at the same time, he's a liability too, because maybe at some point he's going to get the order to kill Antonio Banderas because, hey, we don't want this. He eventually has to be confronted by Kate Bosworth, who's like, "Hey, this is money. What are you doing? You going after these guys? We have associates here. You're starting trouble." And that is true too in organized crime. You don't start a war with another family unless you have really good reasons to do it, or unless you're going to win, right? So if you know you're going to win the war, sure, you'll start the war in 10 minutes, because why not? But, of course, everybody comes after him, and with his many skills of murdering people, he saves the day and saves the girl. Now, the interesting thing about this movie, it's very typical sort of setup and, layout here, is his young assistant, because where does his loyalties lie? So the end of this movie could be, yes, he does save the girl, but then his young assistant kills him and then takes his place. Or his young assistant becomes, well, now I'm going to run with you. And they become, two vigilantes running around Miami, or they have to leave too because they've murdered everybody in the sex trade, and now they've got a giant pile of money, and then they go on the road. So there's a lot of different ways this could end. I think it sort of leans towards that latter ending. He doesn't betray him. He becomes like him. Although Antonio Banderas could die at the end of this. He could. Because it is that kind of movie. So, anywho, I would say it. Sure. It's called The Enforcer. Let's see. Do we have a date on this? Yes, we do. September 23rd. In theaters and on demand. Seems like it's got good production value, so it might be worth it seeing in the theater. Yeah, because it's in Miami. There's a lot of stuff to see. There's action, so this wouldn't be a bad. I'd go see this movie. I would. No, I don't know that it's good. I get slammed sometimes when I said, will I go see the movie? That's different than, is the movie good? I don't know if the movie's good. I haven't seen the movie. I've just seen the trailer. And yes, I judge a book by its cover. And that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more bass takes. We got a news blast and a Hollywoke hot take. Oh, a Hollywoke hot take today. I'm uploading it now. Don't forget, I'll be at the Hamilton Library tomorrow night at 6. And we'll see you in the next one.